I know I'm kind of late making this video, as well as for this channel, but whatever man, leave me alone. I was gonna make a whole item guide for this split, but then I was like, this shit's fucking boring. And nothing really changed besides Riven's first item choices. However, I wanted to make a video going over an item that people have been sleeping on, Ravenous Hydra. It only lost 5 AD and 5 haste, going from 70 AD to 65, and from 20 haste to 15. Even though the active damage went from 100% AD ratio to only 80% and heals less off minions, I think this nerf hurts other Ravenous Hydra users way more, like Tryndamere and Olaf. And Profane Hydra got nerfed way harder, so it could be worse. The important thing that Ravenous Hydra gives are sustain, an extra Conqueror stack, and help with proxy and clearing jungle camps. I also like combining Hydra with Absorb Life because they synergize really well. But with the sustain that Ravenous Hydra gives you, it can be hard to utilize Last Stand as a rune. So when I go Ravenous Hydra, I go Cut Down instead. I did say Ravenous Hydra is a good first item, but when should you go Ravenous instead of Eclipse first? I'd say, if you don't outscale the enemy, then you should buy Eclipse first because it allows you to spike quickly and snowball your lead. For matchups like these, normally, you want laning phase to last as long as possible so they can't scale for free. But if you buy Tiamat, then you won't be able to freeze the waves when you want, then they can sit under tower and free farm as you hard shove every wave under tower. So, if you don't outscale, probably better not to go Ravenous. But, if you do outscale, then you should buy Ravenous because in theory, you will never fall behind with this item. You can either A, survive lane easier with the sustain, or B, not lane at all in proxy. For example, if you're against a counter matchup, you can go Ravenous so you have more sustain and try to go even with your lane opponent. Or, if you're against the tank, while the rest of the enemy team is somewhat squishy, then you can build this instead of buying Cleaver, then you can out-farm by proxying and clearing jungle camps while avoiding fighting the tank that you'll never kill. But, in my opinion, building it just for the sustain is pretty valid. Basically, the whole idea of Ravenous Hydra is that it helps you scale by giving you sustain to survive in lane, / stay on the map longer, or by letting you proxy and take jungle camps so you don't have to lane. Ravenous Hydra also deals more damage in a combo than Eclipse, but it is more expensive. And yeah, I did say that in theory, Ravenous Hydra could be helpful in counter matchups, but in practice, it can be hard to actually build Ravenous Hydra in the first place because of its price. Though, it does have the benefit of building out of 5 longswords, meaning you don't have to recall an 875 gold for pickaxe, which can be difficult in a counter matchup. The build also has the benefit of being flexible. You can go Eclipse or Sundered Sky second item, or you can also straight up go Death's Dance or Maw second if they're heavy AD/AP. However, Ravenous does have its downsides. You see, Riven has 5 items that are almost essential to her, which are Eclipse, Sundered Sky, Death's Dance, Maw, and Armor Pen. If you fill in Ravenous Hydra and Boots, that leaves only 4 item slots, which means you can't go one of these items. I mean, of course you can sell Boots late game, but for a while, you might be stuck without one of these core items. Though it really depends, because sometimes you don't need Maw if they have no AP threats, or maybe they have too much true damage so you can't go Death's Dance. Maybe you were extremely ahead, so you skipped Eclipse to go Death's Dance because all you need is defense. And honestly, even though Eclipse is a good early game item, it falls off a lot harder than all the other core items. With this build, Ravenous Hydra can replace Eclipse, but you can still build them together if you want. It's what I like to do. This item combo is surprisingly tanky as long as you don't get one shot. Though, I'd say if you don't build Eclipse by your second item, your other core items are just better at this point in the game, so go those instead. Here are some example builds, and if I manage to convince you to try this out, then leave a like and let me know how it went. I do not hold any responsibility for any lost LP. And subscribe if you want the advanced Riven mechanics guide. I'm definitely not holding off on doing it because it's a pain in the ass.